Just the tips.
All right, everybody. Adam and Mike here with Just the Tips podcast, episode 81. What's going on, Mike?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Man? Better now. Holy cow.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Little rough one.
As you guys know, it's been raining here in the Northeast for 6 years straight. And we finally caught a day where the sun came out a little bit, but it was still rainy in the morning. The grass was wet, but the sun came out and basically made the golf course into a sauna. So I got home, took a shower, and then took a little coma because it wasn't a nap. when you sleep that hard that you wake up and you think you're late for school. And you're 49 years old. That was a hard sleep. So
that's all right. That's all right. We need it out there. Like you said, we've had rain. So I think there's some sort of stat out there that it's been 32 weekends in a row where we've had some sort of precipitation on one of the days. It's been a little crazy.
Yeah. And again, it is what it is. I mean, I think we're all to the point where we're just playing through it. What are you going to do? So
yeah. And then we're going to get heat, and everybody's going to complain about that as well. So doesn't matter. Everybody's going to whine. But with that being said, it was carts. There was no carts out there today. Did you know that?
I did, and that keeps all the people away, and that I like because I'll walk 18 holes any day.
Yeah. So, episode 80, we got some serious stuff to talk about. So, we want our listeners to kind of get comfortable.
Is this 80 or 81?
This is 80. My fault. Last week I told you it was, wait, hang on. I think we're 81 now. We're 81.
Okay.
I could check. I think we're 81.
The cool thing is we're 9 away from 90, and we're literally only 19 away from our 100th episode, which...
We're 81. Episode 81.
Okay, it is officially 81.
Yeah.
So welcome to the podcast, Mike. And like I said, like you said, we got some heavy-duty stuff to talk about today. I mean, when we started the podcast a few years ago, people kept asking us, what is it about? What is it about? And we're like, it's about everything. And I think the couple of things that we really focused in on was, one, our maybe manic obsession with Mike Strantz, and two is golf course etiquette, and then of course helping beginner golfers understand. But
I would say it's definitely those top three things.
Yeah, but we'll kind of kick it off by saying recently you and I got an email.
So that's actually how this whole conversation came up, is our home course. They send out emails pretty regularly, right? Just, hey, here's what next week looks like. Here's, what's going on tonight, pool updates, things like that. Then they also kind of send out every once in a while some important information of situations that are going on a course or at the club. And I happened to ask one of the owners, I'm like, hey man, that was a pretty intense email. He was like, yeah, well, we got a lot of stuff going on that really needs to be addressed. And I wanted to hear about it because, I mean, dude, if I owned a golf course, this kind of stuff would drive me crazy. I would be out there like, you over there, I would be like, I really would. I honestly, just because there's no need for the things.
Mike wouldn't be a ranger; he'd be a bouncer on the golf course.
I'd be standing on every green,
snatching gold chains and Bushnell rangefinders. Get out of here!
So let's dive into it. Right? There's a lot of golf course etiquette, which is, I think, is like that kind of that secret book of etiquette that some people just don't even think about when they're learning the game of golf.
Yep.
Obviously, you got to learn all the things that we want to try to help people do is like, hey, don't worry about what other people think. Go to the range, start practicing, do this, do that, do that. But then there's the part where, like, hey, there's also these, one, there's rules, and two, there's etiquette. Mm-hmm. And they don't always get taught. Like, how many people do you know on the golf course that are like, oh, I didn't know that was a rule, right? Well, I think there's more people that are like, oh, well, I didn't know that about etiquette.
So, Mike, I'll tell you what, I was just thinking about this, right? So you think about the laws of the land, the laws of nature, the laws of man. What are the big ones, or the 10 Commandments, right? Moses comes down from the mount, 2 tablets, and says, don't do these 10 things. Why don't we do the 10 Commandments of golf course etiquette?
I mean, we can go like kind of really simple and just be like, don't talk in other people's backswings.
So number 1, all right, be courteous to your fellow player, right? Would that make sense?
I mean, especially while they're hitting, but also all the other time as well, but especially while they're hitting.
So number 1 of the Just the Tips 10 Commandments of golf course etiquette is be conscientious of your fellow player, especially when they're playing. Don't be talking in their backswing. Don't be making noise. Don't Velcro your glove.
Oh,
and by the way,
yeah.
What is it? First Tee bars. I don't know why a snack company that's specific for the golf course would make the loudest packaging on planet Earth when you're trying to eat that while somebody else is teeing off. But don't do it.
Yeah. So there's like a lot of that too, and slamming the club into your bag after you just hit a bad tee shot while the dude's at the top of his backswing, the jingling of the club, the coins in the pocket, all those things. I would say that would be like number 1.
So number 1 is be courteous. So we'll go back and forth. I'll come up with number 2. Okay. All right.
It better be what I'm thinking.
Number 2 is thou shalt not steal. Right. Especially range balls. One of the things on the email that went out is like, hey, stop using the range balls on the course. And I go, who does that? What kind of maniac says I'm going to take the yellow range balls and I'm going to bring them out on the course to play with them? Like, come on.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, so let's just categorize that as, like you said, thou shalt not steal. So let's not take a handful of tees. Let's not take the range balls. All these things that we're talking about is, and we'll categorize this everything at the end of the 10 Commandments. Why we're having this conversation, but.
And by the way,
number 3.
Don't pick up a ball that's not yours in the fairway, right?
We can put that under the same one.
That's still stealing, right?
Especially if you're at a course where the holes kind of go across from each, like side by side like that. Like, if that's not your ball, don't touch it. Don't touch it, right? Like somebody. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, keep going. I'm sorry.
Like somebody might be hitting, that might be their tee shot from the other hole. Yeah. But I'll be honest, dude. I mean, I'm guilty of it, dude. I've been 2 fairways over, so you know what I mean. Like, I might not be there, so a lot of people, they'll look up and be like, "Oh, there's nobody around," and I'm like, I'm 2 fairways over on one, being like, "That's mine." Don't touch it.
And still under that thou shalt not steal, you find a wedge on the course. I was playing with a glove. Dude, a head cover, a rangefinder, a speaker, a ball marker. Mike, I swear to God, I coached, and I won't call it, I coached with a lot of different coaches, okay? From all over the place, all over the state of New York. I played with one. He had in his bag a wedge that he did not turn in, and he was proud of it. And dude, it was like a really nice Mizuno wedge, like brand new. And I'm like, oh, dude. I'm like, he's like, yeah, best one of my club. I found it in the back of a green, during a practice round. And I'm like,
dude, imagine that happened to you. Like, imagine you left your 54 on the back of the green and just nobody turned it in. It's like,
this dude's like, free clubs.
All right, let me go out there. Let me go out to 13, and if it's not sitting there, then somebody picked it up, and then that person didn't turn it in. Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
So all that stuff under the header of thou shalt not steal. What do you got?
I'm gonna write these. I gotta type these down because we're gonna put these into something at the end. These are. I'm gonna have to put them into the edit too. So
we have a
what was
we have
one? One was be courteous. Thou shall be. Thou shall be courteous.
Thou shall be an awesome playing partner. Now we sound like Bill and Ted. You know, thou shall be a righteous dude.
Rad dude.
And we will get Luke Kaiser, from Kaiser Funeral Home, to help us out getting these etched onto something made of stone. Oh, dude!
Yeah, there we go.
Ken from Custom Wedgwoods, the 10 Commandments on some Brazilian maple.
All right, what was 2? Thou shalt not steal.
Not steal, and like I said,
right.
you know, especially.
3.
All right, what do you got for 3?
I don't know how you want to thou this and this and that, but
We'll workshop.
leave the course better than when you found it.
I just put thou shall in front of it. Thou shall leave the course better than thy found it. Thy.
Thou shall leave thy course.
Are these pronouns?
I don't know.
No.
Better
These are,
than
they found it.
They found it.
Wow.
All right. So meaning that means, all right, we can start at the range, right? Ken at Custom Wedgwoods makes these awesome range signs of like the proper divot pattern versus the terrible way to do things.
Yep.
Right. You're just hitting a line. You're starting in the front. You're hitting you're hitting a wedge, and you take a divot. Then your next ball should be on the back edge of that divot, and then make a line with it, and then do 10 of them or however much room you have, that how depending on how long your divot is, and then make another line so that you're not just taking chunks every single place out of there. And I'll put up a picture of Ken's.
So you're going to leave the range better than you found it by taking the proper divot pattern. You get to the tee box. What should you do on the tee box to leave it in better shape than when you found it?
So when you're hitting anything other than like a drive, if you're hitting off a tee, you take that tee and you put it in your pocket, or if you broke it, you grab it and you put it in the garbage can. Or some places like our course has a little basket box thing next to the tees where you take that and you put it in there. If you're hitting an iron as a par 3 or something, you're grabbing the sand out of the out of either your cart, or most courses on their par 3s have a little sand bucket next to it, and you fill that divot.
Yeah. So you're taking care of the tee box. What about the fairway?
Replace your divots.
Okay.
Or sand your divots. I'll say this. Now, I need to say this because we've gotten a couple comments with the ball mark thing. I put up a ball mark video of you, and people were giving you crap because you did pop up a little bit, but whatever. I refer back to episode 1 of From the Rough. We have a video for you. But here's the deal. Do something. Don't just leave it, right?
Yeah.
Depending on your course's grass, that divot might not grow back. There's probably like a 75% chance that divot's not going back. So it's okay leaving it, but go sand it, all right? There's sand on the carts for a reason. Sand that divot so that grass can start growing there within, I think the seedlings will happen depending on weather. I think within like 3 days. If you don't do it, it takes like 2 weeks for the seedlings to start growing. Gotcha. So that's one thing. And you can replace the divot if your course says replace your divots. If it has it, a lot of them have like signs on their carts and stuff like that. Go take that divot though, that chunk that you have, put it in the rough, all right, so that you don't mess up the fairway mower.
So I was playing in speaking of Luke Kaiser again, to get shout out to Kaiser Funeral Home, I was playing in the charity tournament with him, and he said he went to replace his divot, and he put it back in. I said, Luke, we don't do that here. And he goes, well, and we were like, on 14, where everybody hits from like kind of the same spot. And I go, take a look, and there was 5 divots that were burned out in their space.
Yeah.
Right? I go, yeah. I said, we got carts. So I was playing in the junior senior the other day, and I played with a very, very, very long time member. She's a young lady, but she's just been at the course for like 50 years.
Good save.
And I hit a shot, and I don't normally take big divots in the fairway. I just kind of pick them clean, right? But I kind of chunked one and took a big beaver tail, and I went over to the cart and I filled it up with sand. And she goes, Adam, she goes, you don't know how many people I play with, and nobody even knows there's sand on the cart. I go, what? She goes, I play with all kinds of people that have been here a long time, short time. She goes, thank you for doing that. And then she goes to me, she goes, you didn't fill it up high enough. Fill it up so it's level.
Well, that's another thing. So what I was getting at with the From the Rough episode 1 is do something, right? Don't do nothing. And who cares what the internet trolls want to do? Like they ripped on you a little bit because you popped up a little bit, or you turned in and they're like, oh, my superintendent said don't turn in, you need to press in, or whatever it is. Here's the deal. A lot of trolls out there make it confusing for some people, so then they just don't do anything, which is definitely the wrong thing to do. At least make the attempt to go fix your divot or go fix your ball mark, which is the next thing on the list. There's a lot of people out there, they just are like, oh, well, no, this is the way you do it. Well, no, this is the way you do it. It's like, honestly, there's a couple different ways to do it. We had that conversation in that video, but don't be afraid that you're going to do it wrong, so then you choose to do nothing, because that's the only wrong way to do it. You know what I mean?
So leave the course in a better way than you found it is number 3, but under 3.3a is and repair the course to your green superintendent's preference. So
go get your green superintendent a case of beer and ask him what all the rules are.
Right,
he won't mind.
All right.
So the last one on that list was to fix your ball marks, and technically you should be fixing 2 on every green.
So, Mike, I'd like to have you consider making, because it's so important, to making law number 3, thou will not make a birdie putt unless thou repairs 2 ball marks. I'd love to normalize that, dude. I'd love to normalize that.
We need to. We're gonna make we'll make a couple shorts about that because it's very important. Yeah, you're not making a birdie putt. I think we had a funny podcast many episodes ago about something about golf karma, and you know, listen, you're getting bad bounces, or you know, you gotta you're next to a root. It's probably because of your golf etiquette.
Yeah,
the golf gods see that stuff, and they'll get you. You know?
Yep. All right.
Take care of the course, and it'll take care of you.
Is that everything under number 3?
Yeah, I mean that one could be very long, but go ahead. What do you got for 4?
Number 4, thou shall play fast.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah.
These are all tied for number 1.
That's why they're on the tablet, dude. So here's the thing: is that you and I were having
How
a
did Moses
conversation.
come up with the proper order?
Because the desert's all one big sand trap. You're just busy raking it out, you know. To
we didn't even talk about sand traps on number 3. You gotta rake your bunkers.
Everybody knows that, okay?
Yeah.
They should know that. So you and I were having a conversation, or you were having a conversation with the owner of the course around this email, and one of the things that we were talking about was pace of play and blah blah blah. But you kind of equated it to, hey, when you're playing slow out there, you may be costing yourself.
So, we can dive deep into this one as well. I mean, I don't know how we're 20 minutes in already, but here's the deal. We had this awesome conversation, and if you look at it from the business side of things, like a 5-hour round is not acceptable. Right? And I know, when I used to work on the Ocean course, it's a tough course. It's a beautiful course. It's long. It's windy. People are paying a lot of, everyone's walking. People are paying a lot of money to be there. The 5-hour round was assumed, right? And I think it's kind of even set ahead of time. But here's the deal. When you go play a course around here, and we got 4 hours, right? Say hey, hon, I'm going to go play golf. Okay. It's going to take 4 hours. Then afterwards, I want to, have a couple beers, and I want, maybe some food, right? But guess what? That's all 4 of us in the group having a couple beers and a dinner. Call that $35 per person. That's $140 per group. That If that takes 5 hours and now those guys don't have that extra hour of time, they're not going to stay and they're going to go straight home because their wife is expecting them. Okay?
Yep.
That's $140 per group that is not spending money at the bar afterwards.
Yep.
I mean,
not going into the
now,
pro shop. They're leaving the 18th green and they're going straight to the car.
And possibly leaving a bad review. Oh, it's a great course, but it's super slow there. Whatever it is.
Yep.
Now, what is the real cost of that to the course? And we can dive into that I will make the next one the other thing we talked about today.
Okay.
But like the real cost.
Yeah.
Because do you have anything else to say on 4? That was 4. Thou shalt not. Thou shalt play fast.
No, thou shalt play fast.
Ready golf. Golf.
Yep. And
it's as simple as that, and we could dive into that too.
So Maddie was in the women's state tournament, and they have spotters out there, and the spotter that was with us was an older lady who loved golf, passionate about her whole life, and she said to the girls, she goes, "Ladies, you can't get ahead of each other. Some of you know, if somebody's hitting on the right, the other one's in the left, you're up 25 yards and 30 yards." And, the girls all looked at her strange. And, I took her on the side and I said, not for nothing. I said, all these girls have been taught to play fast. I mean, fast
Don't
over
they only give them like one practice swing?
Yeah,
you're only allowed like one practice swing?
One practice swing. And again, this is the state tournament. Now, these girls, they weren't playing slow. The course was hard, and when they got to the green, the greens were incredibly fast, really difficult, heavily undulated, and you're trying to score for top ranking in New York State. But this lady's like, no, you guys have to stay back, and I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, somebody could see you out of their periphery. I go, listen, they're okay. Everybody here is been commanded to play fast. They're following
for their entire high school career.
Yeah, they're following the 4th commandment,
Dude, so I was watching the US Open this past weekend, and I think it was Sam Burns. Sam Burns was like left center of the fairway, and he was playing with Adam Scott, and Adam Scott was like left first cut, like 20 yards ahead of him. And Adam Scott was like by his ball, standing just in the rough while Sam Burns was hitting. And like on camera, because they were down the line on Sam Burns, like behind him. I mean, Adam Scott is literally like, and Sam Burns was hitting here, Adam Scott was here, and I loved it. I loved seeing that. He was ahead of him, and Sam Burns didn't care. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's not gonna hit him.
No, you're not going to hit them. I mean, I get that they're, especially like at the amateur level, it's dangerous and things like that. But like you were saying, right rough and left center of the fairway, they're not even close. So
no. So B20.
Ready golf though. Ready golf is definitely a big thing. Which if you guys don't know, we can do a whole sub segment on that as well. But
how good was my fast play between 7 and 8 today?
It was pretty good. You were a little slow on doing what you needed to do on 7. I was like, dude, what is he taking so long for? I'm like, you should just roll that up, get out of here, and go. But your shot on 8 was good. That was pretty impressive.
Yep. So there's ways to play quick if you're inventive, and ask me about that one offline.
So number 4 was thou shalt play fast, and one of the things that we talked about was it costing the club money.
Right.
Number 5 should be, I don't know how to word this, but it has to do with your cart etiquette. And that could be push cart as well, but mainly your golf cart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep the cart at least 30 yards away from the green, and don't run up on the edge of the bunkers, like all of these things. So here's what we made a short one time. We made a golf etiquette video about those cart signs that tell you like get off here, right? And let's just say those are 30 yards from the front edge of the green. That means do not go within 30 yards anywhere of the green. That doesn't mean go over to the cart path, drive through the cart path and onto the rough around the green. That doesn't mean that. It means keep it off of the grass that's within 30 yards of the green. Agree?
100%. I'm just trying to think of the best way to put this. It's like, don't be a dbag with the golf cart is all I can think of that comes to mind. But I'll tell you, I'll go back to the
Thou shalt not be a d-bag.
Exactly, with the golf cart, Because see somebody that doesn't have a flag on there, that's not 79 years old with a new hip surgery rolled up onto the fringe, I want to set their car on fire in the parking lot while they're finishing their round.
I know.
Because I'm like, not for nothing, but I'm going to be chipping off of that later, where you made the heavy U-turn, and left
also,
the freaking cart.
That area where your cart is and that green costs more than your car. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. We were in that junior-senior tournament, and that the young lady I was playing with, we were coming down 15, and she looks over on number 8 tee. You can kind of see the back from the front. And she goes, "Hey, do you know those people over there?" I said, "I don't." She goes, "I don't think they're members." And, she's just kind of keeping an eye out on stuff on the course. Well, sure enough,
I love that she's like an unofficial ranger. I love
100%.
It.
So we're down on 15 tee box, or 15 fairway, and these guys have the cart, like, behind the 8th green, but almost over to the bunker that you were in today by the pond. Like, I don't even know how you get there. I'm telling you, how do you even get the cart? Dude, this lady was losing her mind. She's yelling across the pond, "You can't bring the cart there! What are you doing? You can't bring the cart there!"
So this is where we're going, and you got to come up with a name for this commandment.
Yeah.
But so talking with the owner and another the governor, the only answer is GPS in the carts, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I looked it up, and to retrofit a normal fleet of carts is $12,000. Now, that's to retrofit the ones you have. Now, if your lease is coming up,
12,000?
Yeah, 12,000.
A cart?
No. The fleet.
Oh, okay. I'm like, geez, still.
You just buy a new cart,
that's
$1.2
million. I'm like, oh my God.
No.
Okay.
So the fleet of carts, it's about $12,000,
yeah,
depending on how many carts you have. Or you can just when your lease is up, now you got to upgrade to the next carts up. It's probably 2 levels up, to be honest, from an average cart. Now think about this, and this goes back to commandment number 4 as well, is you're costing your course money. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, the golf course is a business. There's people who own it who are there to obviously give you an awesome golf course, but also it's a business. They're trying to make money.
Yep.
You're costing them money by your ignorance, we'll call it, inability to understand logic. The course isn't going to just eat that. They're not just be like, "Hey, you know what? Let's just throw 12 grand here and it'll be fine. They'll love it and we won't charge more money." They will not do that. So we've gotten tons of comments on all of our Caledonia, True Blue stuff, Tot Hill Farm, Tobacco Road, about these courses being expensive. They're starting to get expensive. One, because they're getting a lot of play. So let's go back to number 3, where the course is getting beat up a little bit, more divots, more ball marks, all these things. So it takes more money to upkeep it. But also, if you have people driving all over the place and they have to get GPS carts and they have to download the software to track it, and also thou shalt play fast. We were somewhere where they were tracking time. Where were we? I think we were somewhere, and they were tracking it's this group that's being slow, so we got to go out there and go, get on them and stuff like that. So all of that stuff costs money, and that money, that cost is going to get put back onto the consumer.
Yep.
And that's why dues go up, or greens fees go up, or cart fees go up. Well, all because of the general public doesn't want to follow just the tips 10 commandments.
So all of a sudden, your $50 municipal course, which is 18 holes in a cart for $50, is now $62.50. Because they had to install GPS, they had to put, and that's only if they have to put the and the geofencing and everything else that goes along with that, right?
Yeah, the geofencing. Yep.
Yep, everything that comes along with that, to prevent the damage that's being done, by people. So it really is, again, I still can't figure out how to phrase it. It's like literally like, when thou rents a cart, freaking keep it away from the greens and stuff. Like that.
Yeah,
it doesn't roll off the. It doesn't run off the tongue like that. That not stealing one, but that's what it is.
No. Yeah, I mean, we can word. We'll word it, but so think about this. And we were at Royal New Kent and Stonehouse, and there's parts where the cart path fades away, and you just drive like kind of through the rough and into the fairway. Well, if you're hitting the fairway in the general spot you're supposed to be hitting, everyone kind of drives into the same spot.
Yeah.
But it starts getting worn down, or it starts getting a little bumpy, or whatever it is. So then the next wave of people start driving here. So now you have 2 of these. So then the next wave of people just starts driving here, and you got 3 of those. They're like, what are you doing? Like, just take care of the course and treat it with respect, and don't drive your carts in stupid places, and you'll know if they're stupid. If you're being lazy and you drive your cart over there because you're lazy, you know you're that guy.
Yeah. I'd say this too, like you and I, when we're filming for Just the Tips, especially on a partner course, we sometimes get a little carte blanche, if you will. We'll go out to a course that's seen some rain or is has some delicate areas, and we're supposed to stay, like everybody else, supposed to stay on the cart path. But because of filming and time and things, they give us like a greenskeeper or the assistant pro, we can drive where we want. But sometimes you get over to some spongy places where you're like, hey, listen, I need.
What the heck were you doing in your cart, dude? By the way, we take separate carts. We've done that the last couple times. I don't know what he's doing in his cart, but I don't do that. I don't do that. If I'm driving out and it gets and all of a sudden I hear the water, I'm like, oh, and I'm back on the course.
Exactly, and that's what I'm getting at. But how many times have you been to a course where it's cart path only or 90 degrees, and somebody just runs 2 tire tracks right through a muddy area? Dude, you remember were you with us today at Albany Country Club when one of our guys got the cart stuck? Oh no, it wasn't one of our guys. We came up on it on our group, and they were out there with a tractor pulling a cart out of a space. Like, how do you get that? So that's just being an unconscionable cart renter. That's
the same as the guy who doesn't want to stay in the lane that's merging. He wants to zip up the side and jut in because he thinks that his time and he's better than everybody. So that's the same guy. He's like, I'm just going to drive over on the other side of the fairway. You know how many Mike Strantz courses that we played that were cart path only, where I'm on the other side of the huge fairway, I'm in the bunker on the right, and I got to walk all the way over there.
Number 9 at True Blue must be 400 yards wide, and the cart path's on the left, and you sliced it over on the right. And I'm like, you might just want to take your bag. I'll meet you up by the green.
Yeah, dude. Yep, totally. But I'm not driving out there. You're right. I'm not driving out there. You have to respect the course. It's cart path. It's not cart path only because they're like, oh, we don't like this guy's face. It's cart path only to protect the course so that they don't have to resod that area and spend $5,000 on sod because you wanted to drive over there.
Exactly.
You're saving your course money by doing all of these 10 commandments.
Doing the right
thing. And in
thing.
turn, you're saving yourself money. You're saving the customers money by not doing this.
Yep. So, all right. We up to number 6?
Yep, number 6.
All right.
Number
6 is, thou shalt not cheat.
Thou shalt not cheat. Again, a great number 1.
So there's two things that I think are that mess with our enjoyment of the game. Number one is Fugazi gin handicaps. Folks that either modify, play with the gin, don't put in scores, whatever they're doing to manipulate the handicap in their favor, even if it's by a small amount, is cheating. Because it either gives you the glamour handicap, which means that you're probably playing in tournaments or in flights that you shouldn't be, or 99 times out of 100 it's the other way, and all of a sudden you're the same guy or the same guy and his wife, and you're winning every net tournament. You can't beat your handicap every time you play in a tournament. It doesn't happen, right? So we know what's going on.
Why don't you explain to people how to properly put their scores into the gin?
Yeah. So for me, like I said, I want all the information. So it gives you 3 different ways to put in your scores. You could put it in just the front 9 and the back 9, right? And that's not, unless you had a good round, right? That's probably not the right way to do it, right? You could put it in hole by hole.
If you had no doubles or triples, then you can, yeah.
So you can put it in a hole by hole or hole by hole with stats, right? But most of us should be putting it in hole by hole. This does 2 really good things for us. One is there's players out there that can par or birdie any hole, but they can also make a 9 on any hole, right? So they'll shoot 85 with a 10 on number 7, right? And you go and they'll talk about it at the bar. Well, if I didn't have that 10 on number 7, I'd have shot 70. And you go, wow, that's true, right? But if you put in your front and your back score, the gin app can't calculate that score is an anomaly. So what it would do is, depending on your handicap, it would knock it down either from a 10 to an 8 or a 10 even to a 7, depending on how low your handicap is, and saying, we're just not going to let that one score manipulate your whole handicap. But if you only put in fronts and backs, then it doesn't do that. If you put in, and again, I don't want to think that there's anybody there taking a bad hole on purpose, but I'm sure in all the golfers in the world, there's somebody that's that rotten.
Are you serious?
There would have to be, right? But if they put it in hole by hole, it wouldn't hurt the rest of us. It really wouldn't, right? The other thing putting it hole by hole does is it gives golf courses the information. Now, again, they're not going through and sorting it out, but if everybody took the time to put in their hole by hole, then we would know what the hardest hole on the course was. We'd know the second hardest hole.
That's one of the ways the courses end up handicapping the holes is going off of that data. And also, I will say this. Now, I don't know if it's hole by hole or back 9, front 9, but sometimes the gin will recalculate scores if they happen to be like somewhat high that day from everyone. They'll actually give you a little bit of an extra handicap because of playing, if it was wet or if it was super windy or whatever it is. And I know that also helps as well.
And it goes the other way too. You and I played Shaker Ridge, and Shaker Ridge is notorious for its fast greens, and they're heavily grained, and the course is tough. Well, we went there probably 10 days after they plugged. It wasn't plinkoed, right? But the greens were slower than their normal standard. And I shot, 1 over on a course that I rarely break 80 at. And I go, man, I had my best round ever. And I put in all my scores. And by the time I hit that button, I got a little red flag next to it that said, the course was playing artificially easy today. Therefore, we're not going to count that score as the way it is. We're gonna actually
add a couple to it.
Exactly, But if you're not taking the time to put that in, so put your gin in the right way. When you're on the course, come on with the mulligans and crap. But the big one that I quite honestly is ruining the sport and is taking all my enjoyment out of it is you guys that just suck during scrambles. That you're putting your name on the long drive when you weren't within 70 yards of it. Every
That's
time
why I don't
you
play
miss
scrambles, dude.
You miss a putt, you take 4 more shots at it, and even if you do miss it, you mark down the birdie. Again, you guys suck. You're the worst kind of people in the world. Fluffing your lives
when you shouldn't be, like the foot wedge, all of those little things that you see all over. Like, just the sport is a gentleman's sport, and it's for everyone, men and women, but it's about etiquette and like
integrity,
being true. Like you're your own rules official out there, and don't cheat. Don't cheat.
Yep.
You don't need to roll it. You don't need to fluff it. You don't need to mark the ball here, but then put your ball here when you're putting it down. Like those things, like none of that is going to work in your favor in the long run, right? Yeah, okay, cool. You got away with one. You drove home and you beat Mike, whatever. Yep. But in the end, the golf gods, I truly believe in. I believe in karma, but I definitely believe in golf karma, dude.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it comes back around. I think if you cheat in a scramble and you win with an artificially low score, I do think that you should take out extra fire insurance in your house, because like
I think something will happen to your clubs within the next couple months.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the airline just happened to chuck them out the window one time. I think something bad would happen to your clips.
That brand new driver, the head's going to explode or the shaft's going to break in half, and they're going to be like, "That's not under warranty." Like everybody else gets one. You're going to leave your new lab putter on the edge of the green, and somebody's not going to turn it back in.
Yeah, it's all going to come back and bite you.
Yep,
so follow the 10 Commandments and buy your shirt.
Exactly. That's Commandment 10, by the way. Buy your shirt.
Like, follow, and subscribe.
Like, follow, subscribe, buy your shirt. What are we up to?
Number 7. Number 7.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, you got
this
number 7?
is me. Yeah.
All right.
Thou shalt dress and act properly. Thou shalt dress and act properly.
Dress and act. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, like we said, there's a lot of long time standing. This sport's been around for a long time, and it's very old school, right? So, professional golfers are still wearing pants, collared shirts, tucked in, all that stuff, right? I still believe in all that, right? Like, dude, I will wear cargo shorts. I'll wear gym shorts pretty much everywhere else in my life.
Even to nice restaurants, I've been there.
I've done it. But that's only because we go straight from the gym sometimes. But when you're on the golf course, it's golf shorts, no cargo pockets, okay? And or pants, golf pants with no cargo pockets of some sort.
Yep.
And a collared, I don't have one. You got one? No. A collared polo shirt, a proper collared polo shirt with a couple buttons, and tuck it in, have a belt, okay? Those are, and then a hat. Wear a regular hat forwards, all right? If Eric Paddock is watching this, all right? Tuck it in, tuck your shirt in, wear your hat forward, don't have cargo pants, wear a belt. I mean, golf shoes, right? Now, golf shoes have gotten a little crazy lately. Like, I've seen, like, Nike Air Maxes with spikes on the bottom, but, whatever.
Yep.
All right, what else you got?
For this, well, you were saying, and again, I'm just shocked by it. I guess I'm naive, and I think that the behavior that people have at airports or in Walmart or when they're talking to customer service isn't for the golf course. Like I'm like, you're at the happiest place in the world, yet I constantly talk to golf course employees, whether they're in the shop, at the bar, the restaurant. You even said it as a caddy that some people treat the golf course folks, the people that work there, they treat them bad. They're like yelling at them like they're their servant. And I understand, especially like if you're the member of a club, like you bought that membership, you joined that club for the privacy, the elegance, the status, and again, some of the fancy ones, the folks there are really, really good at service, right? They put themselves in a place of service as a profession for our benefit, and it brings value to the club. But some people, dude, just treat these people like, and I can't believe it. I couldn't believe you treat another person like that. So, dude, be wicked cool to the people that work there.
I had this conversation with somebody and I think you were there, but I wasn't having that conversation with you. But there was like one time where I had a few too many drinks at the bar, and I had to get a ride home.
Yeah.
I had to get a ride back there the next morning, and I had to like go get my car, and I was embarrassed. I was like kind of like doing a walk of shame, kind of embarrassed thing. I couldn't imagine being rude to a cart kid or a bartender or an assistant, whoever it is, to a staff member, and then coming back there the next day and not being like, oh my God, hey, listen, I'm totally sorry. I just freaking you know what I mean? Like all right,
Yeah.
I get things happen. We get angry on a course. People throw a club. People, you know, whatever they do. They had a bad round, and you might say something to a staff member just because he's the kid that's there after you walk off 18. But if that is you and you come back the next day, you better apologize.
Yeah.
There's no reason to talk to somebody in any way, shape, or form that is working at your specific club or any golf course at all. I mean, unless the kid snapped your driver, then you can yell at him. But if he's there cleaning your clubs, like, why are you yelling at this kid? Well, you know, this girl's making you margaritas. Like, why would you ever, like, lose your...
Dude, I
don't get it.
And the fact that, you know, again, if you're a longtime member and this person is either a new or, a longtime employee, I mean, you're going to have a relationship with this person. It's not like you're never going to see him again. So when
that's what I mean.
You know, and people are fallible. That's the thing that kills me. It's like, okay, I get it. If you belong to Augusta, okay, there is the ideal of perfection. The grass is perfect. The clubhouse is perfect. I'm sure the staff is perfect. But guess what? You don't belong to Augusta. Nobody who listens to this podcast belongs to Augusta. If you do, email me. I apologize. But I'm telling you, you belong. Yeah,
I want to play.
Come on. But here's the thing. So can we all assume that, you know, if we're either paying our greens fee or we're a member of a club, that some of the people there are fallible, just like regular people. They miss the tee time, right? And they're trying to squeeze you in between a couple of people, right? Because there was miscommunication. You said you got into the skins because you were rushing out and they didn't hear you, and you birdied the hardest hole on the course and you didn't get your skin payout, right? That margarita, you said no salt, and it came out loaded with salt. I saw a guy one time get mad because they couldn't make a smash burger medium. You know what a smash burger is?
Yeah, you just smush it down.
Yeah, the thing's only a quarter inch. It's like this big. They put a couple of them together with cheese in between. But how do you make a quarter inch hamburger medium? It doesn't.
I would have just been like, yeah, all right, sir, you got it. Well, medium coming right out.
Yeah. But bottom line is like I said, you know, these just aren't employees of the course. Like I said, they've engaged in.
They're part of the course.
And the most important part are the people that make up a golf course. And I get it. Some can make it or break it, and some people might not be up to your standards, but that's still no reason to give them a hard time. You might want to talk, you know, to the general manager if it's really bothering you, or, you know, send an email.
Right, and
I know our general manager gets more than his fair share of emails, but like I said, don't take it out on the freaking pro shop, dude. Yeah. Come on.
Listen, you know what? Listen, you had a bad experience. You know, like, suck it up for that moment. Like Adam said, maybe call later or send an email or discuss it with, you know, a boss the next day or whatever it is. But there's no reason to be causing scenes. Like you said, happiest place on earth. How can you be mad at the golf course?
Yeah. Mike, do we have time? Do you want me to give you one big specific example of something that happened to me and kind of how I dealt with it?
We got time. We got 3 more commandments, but we got time.
All right. Well, like I said, the last one is like, subscribe, and buy your shirt. So that's number 10. That's easy.
That's easy.
So we really only got 2 more. I was playing my second member guest, my brother-in-law, and we made the shootout for the second consecutive year. And the way they pay out the shootout is there's 10 teams, and they pay the top 6. 2 teams get eliminated on the first hole, and 2 teams get eliminated. Oh, they pay the top 5. 2 teams get eliminated on the second hole. 2 teams get eliminated on the third hole, right? But the first team eliminated gets no money. The second team to get eliminated gets a substantial check. Many times what you put into this tournament, so it's a big deal. We go up, we end up in a chip off, right? So the chip off will decide who gets 0 and who gets a pot of gold, right? So we chip up. It's blind, so you don't see what happens. And the assistant pro at the time, he's no longer there, so we don't have to worry about it. Taps me on the shoulder, says, "Congratulations, both teams are eliminated. You guys win." Right? I go drive into the parking lot. My partner and I are going, "Hey, listen, we didn't win the whole thing, but we're excited. We're excited to get more than our money back, and it's an expensive tournament." And then next thing I know, the assistant pro is standing next to me, and he goes, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I switched it up." Now, again, that was the difference between several zillion dollars and no dollars, right? And it was like snatched out of our hands. We thought we had it. We thought we were getting money, and then we were getting nothing. I didn't sit there and turn around and, F you and F this and F your mother. I was deeply hurt. And I came in the next day because I played golf next day, and the pro came to me and apologized for the guy, and I go, "Listen, it's the busiest weekend in the world. You guys have been there 20 hours a day for 4 straight days. It's the highest pressure there possibly is. To get 2 people mixed up is understandable. To correct it quickly is appreciated. It hurt me. It hurt me deeply. But at the same time, like I said, their job was very, very difficult, and they fixed it the best they could. So what am I going to do? Am I going to quit the course? Am I going to try to ask for this guy's thing? I still lost. In the integrity of the game, I lost, didn't deserve the money. Felt like I had the money for a minute, got the money taken away from me, hurt me bad, but I'm not losing my mind on the employee.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like you said, they have so much going on, dude, that, like, realistically, it's very hard. I mean, you don't understand what goes on behind the scenes to get a tournament ready, or even just a regular day run-of-the-mill tee sheet to get everything situated. You got the range going, you got you got food going, you got people calling the shop asking all these questions. You're trying to sell merchandise. You're trying to get these guys onto the first tee. You got people calling saying, "Oh, there's these guys are slow on number 8 out here." You got so much going on every single day that not everything's going to get run smoothly. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, so you really got to take a step back and realize what's going on.
So it's forgivable when it happens, and 2, when they do get it right, and they get it right most of the time, especially the places we play, make sure you thank them for that, right? Yeah. And that brings me up to our next commandment.
Yeah.
What number are we
Let's
at?
hear it.
8? Number 8?
Yep, number 8.
Thou shalt tip. Okay?
Thou shalt
tip.
Yeah.
Right?
I love
Again, we talked about this is the service industry, and different courses, there's different people that are taking care of you, and different people that deliver this high level of service and not expect, but this is how they generate their income. A good example is when you're down south in Myrtle, or you're in the big resort courses in Orlando, they always have somebody there getting your bags for you, right? Mm-hmm. You were talking to the general the other day, and he was saying and he's like retired now, so he's running bags a little bit at a smaller course. Yeah, but he was saying he gave you a really good example of how he thought tipping was appropriate. Maybe you want to talk about that with bag guys.
Yeah. So he was talking about how, if the guys come up to the bag drop and basically swing their car up, and you got to get 2 bags out, and the cart is right there. You take them out of the trunk, put them in the cart. He's not really, and I believe he's wrong here, only because I think he was being too nice. He was like, I don't expect anything, right? He's like, I don't care. He's like, I barely had to do anything. He's like, but if I have to run out to the parking lot and grab 4 bags and I'm carrying them over, and then I gotta go, throw them on a cart. He's like, he's like, I expect something. I don't think he used the word expect, but
no.
He's like,
but there's a different level of compensation, a different level of service. So same thing. When it's you and me, and we go to our partner courses, right? We're on our best behavior. We're there as super guests, right? We're being really well taken care of. We want to take really good care of the course and the people there. So when the guy comes over and he grabs the clubs, if it's just you and me, and they're only going from here to there, maybe it's $10, maybe it's $20, depending on how elaborate, it is, right?
Yeah.
But when we're down in Orlando and we come pulling up with 2 SUVs, 8 guys stumbling around, they got shoes, we got camera equipment, there's a drone.
We're like, oh, that guy's a driver, this guy, he's with him,
Yeah.
They get it, and they get it all,
But now it's 2, 3, 4 guys handing out $20 bills, right?
Exactly.
Because there's also like 3, 4, 5 guys taking care of all our junk and getting it on the carts the right way, right?
Yeah.
So that's one. By the way, I haven't seen this in a long time. This used to be standard procedure, but you don't see a lot of them anymore. Are we still tipping starters? I can't remember last time I had a starter, to be honest with you.
Me either. I just got to check this rain real quick.
Yeah, dude.
Nice yards. Raining again.
Guess what?
Shocker.
It's pouring again. Yep.
I honestly, I haven't seen starters really, and I haven't seen the tipping of the starter.
Okay. So
I'd like
so
to hear
maybe
a good joke from a starter, though. I miss a good joke from a starter.
Yeah. But
also the kid after you walk off 18 and he greets you, he cleans your clubs, he kind of I've been to courses where he's standing off at 18 and he hops on the cart with you and he goes out to the parking lot with you and he shines them up real good. He tells you hey, what's the best thing on the menu? Make sure you grab this and ask for so and so. He'll hook you up. And he cleans your clubs and he throws them in the cart for you. That's a tip. That's we talked about that at Tobacco Road. The kid stood there.
Dude, Tobacco
at 18.
Road does it right. They know.
Dude,
they know how to take care of you.
Kid made $100. Kid had to at least make $100 in the 4 groups that we stayed there for.
So great thing about Tobacco Road is you park your cart at the 18th green, and you got a little bit of a walk. You kind of got to come down a hill through this walk area. You definitely have to chip. Nobody hits that green, so you're chipping and you're putting. By the time you get back, your clubs are immaculate. I'm talking. There's not a.
I hit that green the second time I played, by the way.
Did you? Nice. Yeah, I'm yet to hit it. I got up and down both times, but did I? We played it? It doesn't matter. But long story short is, this guy, like, the head covers had been dry cleaned and pressed. He
was solid, man.
There was
$100 that kid had to
seat.
easly make.
Yeah, but good for him. Because it's nice to
The
see some
towels
hustle.
in the cart were folded into a swan.
Yep. Cart girl. Especially if you're gonna harass the cart girl. Like I said, if you're this guy trying to pick up the cart girl, give her $100. Me?
Oh, dude.
When?
Miss Paddock, hey Miss Paddock, if you're listening, comment down below and let us know if Adam.
No way. So bottom line though is I'll get a cocktail, and especially when we're on. Like, if we're playing 36 holes, I like that. I don't normally drink on the course, but I'll have 2 beers on the back 9. So it's late in the afternoon. She's still out there. Definitely going to give a good tip.
I mean, if anything, dude, and it doesn't even have to be a couple beers, dude. You get a couple Gatorades and a Snickers, you got a tipper, man. Yep. Especially if you want her to come back.
But like I said, if you're one of these guys that thinks it's funny to hey, blah, 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 take a look at my new driver, look at my blah, 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 I got a Ferrari in there. Show her how cool you are by throwing her a $20 bill, all right?
So, and that's another thing. And I mean, so I will say we had a cart girl live with us when we were down south. She lived with us for like 6 months. And
did she bring her work home, though? Did she bring the cart with her to the house?
Yeah, dude, so we can finish drinking. No, no, but we told her, like, she was like, oh, today was like a bad day. Guys weren't drinking. Nobody was, blah, blah, blah. And, we gave her some things because, like, we're dude golfers. And I'm like, dude, if you just tell the guys to start drinking, 50% of them will be like, all right, fine, whatever. I'm going to have a couple beers. And then they're going to tip you. But she also said, she was like, and I don't know if she did it consciously at first, but subconsciously, like, listen, you tip her $20 the first time around, she's coming back around to you and making sure. Yep. All right, so there's also that. You want 2 beers on the front 9, you want 2 beers on the back 9. You better tip her in the beginning because otherwise you're not going to see her on the back.
And again, some of these places are awesome where like that food and beverage is a really part of their business plan, and you do twice on the front and twice on the back. You see it. But there's other times where it's like, hey, instead of, there's two guys on the course that are there late. Instead of me driving all the way out there, they're on 13. They can get a drink when they get back inside. You tip them on the front, they might go, hey, listen, I should take a quick yeah.
Exactly. Let me zip back out there. Yep.
Yeah, let me just check on these guys, So, so bottom line is tip. But here's another quick one for you, too. And it's something I either read or I saw a reel about. So tipping caddies is like a delicate science, right? Because, again, you're getting this, in many cases, you're getting a course expert to navigate your shanking ass around the course, right? So when you get a good caddy, their help is invaluable. I can't tell you how many times you've heard about the O'Brien Travel Company that gets these great caddies, and people shoot the rounds of their life in Scotland on their dream course because the caddy navigates them around. They're invaluable. You were a caddy for many years. So how do you reciprocate? How do you take care of the caddy that takes care of you?
So there's always a recommended gratuity, right? So you're going to a place.
Where do you find that out? Where do you find
that
out?
So a lot of times, at our place, the caddy master was handing out what would look like basically half a scorecard. So at Kiowa, this is your scorecard on your cart, or you're getting it from the first tee box. But the caddy master would have something like this, and he'd hand it to you. Hey, these are the blues, these are the whites, these are, this is course etiquette, this is out of bounds on 7. Also, this is the caddy recommended gratuity.
That's smart. I
right?
like that.
Okay. But sometimes it's on the website. Sometimes the pro shop will tell you, you know what I mean? Or you can ask. But some places you pay the caddy fee, right? Like you're paying the caddy fee, whether it's call it $100, right? You can pay that to the club, to the pro shop, if that's what they do, right? They say, oh, you can pay us, or you can pay him directly. Here's the thing, right? That fee, if you pay it in the pro shop, if they don't make you pay it in a pro shop, but it's still obviously a fee, it's going on that caddy's check, and it's getting taxed. All right. Hopefully, no accountants are listening too well. But, or if the pro shop is like, oh, well, you can pay us, and you can put it same with your greens fee, right? So if it's $200 greens fee plus a $100 caddy fee, you can just pay the $300 on your card. Or you can take that $100 cash and go give it to him after the round. But that is the caddy fee. That is not the tip. All right. So
I hate to put it this way, but to make it very clear, it's the equivalent of the cart fee. You would pay for a cart. You're going to pay for the caddy. It's a fee.
So you're paying your $100 fee.
Yep.
And then you tip on top, based on performance, not how you performed. How he performed, right? Not how you played, right? Because he can only do so much. I've gotten guys around the ocean course. I had one guy break par at the ocean course. One.
In all the years you've been there, just one guy?
Dude, 90% of the people shoot over 100.
Yeah, it's a tough place.
So I had one guy shooting, but I've had people shoot 90 and tip me way more because the fun they had, got them around, whatever it is. So it's really based on the relationship that you have with him. Is the tip on top of the fee?
Yep.
The fee is not the tip.
Right.
So that's one thing that I think a lot of people need to understand.
And then the caddy master will give you a suggested gratuity. It's like,
so,
you ever go deep sea fishing? Right? And you rent the boat for $1,000 a day. You got 6 guys out there. And then they're like, the gratuity is 20%. That's the recommended gratuity. You caught all kinds of fish. Instead of $200, you go to the 6 guys, you gather up $250 because you had a great day out on there. Right? Something
like that. So when I worked there, it was kind of like this gray area where they didn't want to say, hey, you know, it's a $65 fee. It was $65 a bag when I was there. Mm-hmm. So the caddy master handed you this. It was a $65 recommended gratuity plus tip on top. But he never said that because he didn't want to like insinuate like 65 is the minimum. He didn't want to say that because technically they can give you whatever they want. Like if you wanted to get technical. But now a lot of courses, many courses are going to the caddy fee. So that's the price it takes to take a caddy and then tip on top. Yeah. And that's all based on performance. If he's terrible, just give him the fee and that's fine. If he's terrible. If he, you know, lost your head cover, freaking, you know what I mean? He's puking over the dunes, whatever it is, right? Like misreading putts, whatever. But if he's doing his job, he's carrying your bags, he's taking care of you, reading your putts, cleaning your clubs while you're going, it's definitely tip on top.
All right. And this was the thing that I read that I thought was interesting, and I think it makes perfect sense. And I hadn't heard it before, simply because I don't take a lot of caddies, and I don't play a lot of top, or haven't played until recently a lot of top end courses. But what they were saying is if you got a buddy that can get you onto a top end course, they're a member there, they have a corporate opportunity, or their father-in-law is get you on Pebble Beach, and you're playing for free on that private course and you're taking caddies, that it's good form. It's not required, but it's like, I wouldn't even say expected, but it's really good form to pay the caddy fee and tip of the person that got you onto the course. So not for nothing, but you get me on Kiowa, right? And we have caddies for the day. I should pay for both of the caddies and the tip.
I like that.
I know you do. I know you do. Because what would happen if I didn't know Mike Romano? I'd have to get on a waiting list. I'd pay $650 plus I'd pay my caddy and my thing. Mike gets me out there because of his relationship. I should thank him for that by taking care of his caddy.
I like that.
Makes sense, right?
So there's also another one that was out there that was if a friend gets you on his private course, you know, he has to pay a guest fee, or there's a guest fee, and it was like, who pays that? It's like, you should pay it. Like the guest should. The guest.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. So
what about?
I would also say.
By the way, what about
going back to 7 was like. Oh, hang on. Going back to 7 was thou shalt dress and act properly. When you're acting, you need to act, be on your best behavior. Like you're at somebody else's house.
When you're a guest,
you're at your friend's house. Yeah, you're a guest. So there's that.
Yep.
Member guest.
Somebody told me one time, and maybe, like I said, I if this was the truth, I don't think I'd play the member guest. They said you're supposed to pay for your guest to play in the member guest, and I go, is that a thing? I would. I love my brother-in-law, but I ain't paying for him.
Hopefully we got some fellow members of our course on this, and I want to hear in those comments below, like, are they paying for their guests?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Think about this. I mean, you got people that are, you know, I've heard stories. I haven't played in a member guest, but I've heard stories like flying a buddy in from California so they could play in the member guest. I'm like, are you paying for his flight? Are you paying for his hotel? Like, what's going on? Like, you're doing all that just to try to win the member guest?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, one of the guys flew in his buddy from South Africa, and the guy was an absolute stick. He was like a +2, and everybody. But that's the question: is nobody ever brings it up? I think my guests should be like, hey, we're partners in this. I'm paying my half. You're paying your half. I'll put you up at the house for the weekend. You don't have to stay at the hotel. You can sleep on the couch. So
what if you win? What if you pay and you win? Does he pay you back?
Or do you split it with him? I mean, some of these purses are gigantic.
Yeah, if you pay for everything and you win, do you keep everything? And you're like, hey, here's a beer.
All right. Yeah. All right. So hit us up in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, so, I want to know that.
We're up to number 9. All right. What do you got?
Dude, I don't know. I've been trying to think while you were talking of of another one that could make the top 9. Do you have anything super? Do you have anything?
No, and that's the thing is, I'm like, I'm going to think about this tomorrow, or I'm going to watch the podcast over the weekend and go, oh my God, we missed this one. It was so glaring.
Yeah.
But no, I'm like, I think we covered like.
So how about we do this?
Of it.
I mean, there's a bunch that we could probably think of if we weren't doing this just right now as we're talking.
Yeah. Let's leave number 9 open.
I think we leave number 9 open, and let's see what the viewers think should be number 9. All right. Yep. I'm sure there's got to be a dozen that we're missing. Like I said, in all of these, there's definitely subcategories. I think I can make a whole stone for each one. You know what I mean? Of subs. But and then obviously 10's like, follow, subscribe, and buy your shirt.
Buy your shirt. Yeah.
And put your scores in. Put your scores in on the day, or I would say 24 hours. I don't like that the gin yells at me like I'm doing it the next morning. Yeah. And everybody says that too. It's literally just a pop-up that says, hey, by the way, you need to put these in. It's best if you put these in. And everyone's like, dude, it's yelling at me. Put your scores in, buy your shirt.
All right, so let's leave number 9 open. So read it back from the top. Number 1.
Thou shalt be courteous to playing partners.
Fair enough.
Right?
Nobody can argue with that. Okay,
number 2, thou shalt not steal.
Big
number
time.
3, thou shalt leave thy course better than they found it. Number 4, thou shalt play fast. Number 5, thou shalt not drive carts in stupid areas.
That's perfect. There it is. All right.
6, thou shalt not cheat. 7, thou shalt dress and act properly. 8, thou shalt tip. And number 9 is we're taking requests. And number 10 is like, follow, subscribe, and buy your shirt.
I love it, dude. Ken from Custom Wedgewoods will have the order over to you in the next few days.
Yeah, I wonder if
something else with the simulator room.
Custom wedge stone. Custom wedge stones.
That's it. Next thing, Ken's got a sideline working for churches in the greater Poughkeepsie area. So like I said, but dude, this is for real. If there's just like the real 10 Commandments, there's not a lot you go like, that doesn't make sense. I don't believe in that. It's like, hey, being a decent human being, is really the overriding
also. Right, like so the 10 Commandments that Moses is being just a good human.
Yep.
Now take that and go be a good human on the golf course.
Yeah, but to your point earlier, some people don't know, right? Like everybody knows you shouldn't kill, right? But some people might not know you're supposed to pick up your broken tee and put it in the in the trash. I mean, it sounds common sense to you and me.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, and thou shalt put your scores into the gin correctly.
Thou shalt covet thy neighbor's driver. Thou shalt covet thy neighbor's lab putter, big time.
So it's like right. Be a good human, and then be a good human on the golf course. Also, I will add in. There's also about 10 commandments for the gym as well that we could probably also do. Oh, yeah. Right. Totally. Thou shalt not curl in thy squat rack.
Thou shalt not wear lifting gloves. I think it's a big one that we follow. So, that's it. All right.
All right, dude.
Well, listen. Dude,
awesome podcast. I think this... Go ahead.
Yeah, shout out to the sponsors who I think will really appreciate this. I think each sponsor should be tied to one of the 10 Commandments, Thou shalt play fast, brought to you by Spin Scooters,
Yeah. Thou shalt not cheat is brought to you by the Gin app.
That's it. All right. Well, dude,
listen, shout out to our sponsors.
Podcast.
Listen, and I will say this, to end it, if you follow these 10 Commandments, the courses will appreciate it, and that those expenses that they are incurring from not following the 10 is literally getting put back into the price of those green fees, and you having to pay $30 a cart per person and all of these things, guys. It's just like, if you clean up the act, it's going to come back to you tenfold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. there would literally be no need for a ranger. The person that we definitely don't tip. When they come around to tell you you're playing too slow, or to get out.
Your course might not need to upgrade to GPS if you just don't park on the greens.
And if everybody took care of the greens and the bunkers and the sand and the tee boxes, the course could literally use that manpower, that woman power, that person power to do other things. Maybe they could do it, to fix that piece of the course that's been neglected, or to add an amenity that you don't have, while simultaneously not raising your costs. Right? It's all of our responsibilities
100%.
together. It's all of our responsibility together. And when and I get it, you're going to have the weekend, the person that plays twice a year, they don't know what they're doing, they're going to mess it up.
If you have friends like that, just send them this podcast.
Yeah, we're all going to live with those folks, but the long story short is, if you're listening to this, again, you're in the Just the Tips trust tree. We're trusting you to do the right thing on the golf course for everybody.
And listen, if you know people that are breaking any of these commandments, send them this video.
Body slam. Oh, send them the video. Send them the video.
Yeah. Throat punch.
All right, dude. Oh, I just thought what number 9 could be. Don't hit into the group in front of you. That could be a number.
Let's leave it up to the viewers. I want to see what they can come up with. I want to see what they can come up with.
I was just thinking of it. All right, dude. Listen, another great podcast. We did it. 81 in the books. Hey, good luck to you this weekend playing the Ulster County Men's Amateur. Thank you. Next week's podcast will be coming to you moments after the finish on Sunday.
This one is coming out on the Sunday, and then we will be filming the next one right after that round.
So I'm excited about all of these podcasts coming out. So, like I said, dude, it's been a good one today. But I just say this: my name's Adam.
I'm Mike. Just the tips.
Better.